I'm sorry, go ahead, Shane.
From Chicago, Illinois.
Chicago, okay, welcome.
Greg Castillo, Fresno, California.
Welcome, Brett. Anybody
Dan
else?
Bartholomew from Columbus, Ohio.
Okay, welcome.
Brett Holland from Pueblo, Colorado.
Welcome.
Melinda Weekland from Urbandale, Iowa.
Okay, welcome.
Melissa McNeil, Nevada.
Melissa, you're from Nevada?
Correct.
Okay, welcome. What we'd like
Brandon
to do
Price, Brandon Price, St. George, Utah.
Okay, thank you. We'll give it a couple minutes here just because the latecomers come on. So if you haven't introduced yourself, just go ahead and tell us who you are and where that gives Rob a little bit better idea of his audience.
This is Pat Meldrum at Allstate Insurance Company.
Okay, where you at, Pat?
Sierra Vista, Arizona.
Okay, welcome. Pat Meldrum, welcome.
Mark Robinson, Scottsdale, Arizona. Allstate Insurance.
Okay, welcome. If you just joined us, if you just want to introduce your name and where you're from.
John Lynn, Garden Grove, California.
Okay, welcome, John.
Brian Esslinger, Farmers Insurance, Eau Claire, Wisconsin.
Okay, welcome. You're close by. Couple more.
Yeah, Sam Grant, Simi Valley, California, Farmers Insurance.
Okay, welcome.
Thank you.
Got one more out there? Okay, we'll get started. Again, my name is Dean Ramsden with Client Focus Connections. Sue is on the call also. She's our office manager. And we have Rob Rector from Main Street Marketing from Oklahoma. And Rob Gibson is our guest speaker. He is with Farmers, Presidential Council member. He's been with us since, I think it's been 2005, and he's been probably our best, loyalist client that we've had. And I think he likes Client Focus as much as we like him. So he's our guest speaker. And so pretty much what we'll do is we'll let Rob tell his story. And then before we go into questions and answers, we'll do, Rob Rector will just do a couple minutes on his piece. We do a webinar tomorrow on Main Street Marketing, so he'll give a little advertising on that. And then we'll open up kind of questions. And if people just keep joining us, you'll hear the ding there. So we'll just keep moving forward on it. The call is being recorded because agents that can't make it like to hear, and we do send this out to other people so they can hear it. So, Rob, we appreciate you doing this. So, show is yours.
Okay. Well, welcome everyone. My name is Rob Gibson. I've been an agent with Farmers Insurance for just a little over 27 years now, with my primary focus probably since year 2 specifically trying to market commercial insurance. And I guess for the longest time I always just tried to hire a contact manager within my agency to do the X-date cold calling prospecting for me. And years and years went by, and then I walked
Dave Alvarado.
Walked into I guess we had like an agent conference, and Dean was stuck back in a corner table. I mean, probably 90% of the agents missed him, but I happened to go back there and talk to him, and that's kind of where we started our relationship from. Marketing is a pivotal part of all of our agencies, and really the moment you stop marketing is when your agency will go backwards or get stagnant. So I've always stuck with that, and I've just kind of stayed with the focus of having someone else replace me so that I could sell, and that was the key thing about it. So, I mean, we all have different types of marketing out there, whether it be direct mail or leads groups. Some of us, like to work trade shows, and yeah, referrals are a great way, but obviously telemarketing, contact manager is a consistent way to do that. So, as far as the implementation there, I talked to Dean, and I've worked with him for a long time, and Sue, and we've had contact managers, different ones, over the 7-year period, and it's been very productive for my agency. And this was my main reason to use CFC, was so that I didn't have to hire, train, fire, and hire, train, fire, hire, train, fire. I leave that up to him. That's his specifics. That's what he does best. And it was just something that I could take off my plate and focus on sales. This program that you have is when you start it, you can't expect to have, at least in my opinion, killer results right away. It's something that you have to stay committed to. It's something for the long run. It's not to say that you won't get some leads right away and joining or signing up, but really it's a commitment and it's for the long term. I mean, you have to continue to get those leads to funnel in. Some leads work, some leads don't work, but if you don't have anything coming into the funnel, basically it's just empty. You don't have any leads, and that's why I said this is for the long term. So I guess kind of what you could look at too is if you had like a closing ratio, let's say it's 30% in your area, and you had client focus do their calling for you 3 hours a week, and they did that for 52 weeks a year. Basically, you're going to, if they average 6 leads, and they may average more for you on some days, may average less other days, but let's just say they average 6 leads during each session for you, that would generate you about 312 leads for the year. And so if you closed on that as a 30% closing ratio, that would generate 93 policies, or just about 2 a week to an agency. So maybe your closing ratio isn't that good, or maybe you're still
Did we lose Rob?
Where you're competitive at. So let's just say your closing ratio is 12%, then you're going to only close on 37 policies, or a little less than 1 a week, or 3 policies a month. So that's what you have to kind of look back at is really where do you want your results at, and that's kind of why I wanted to give you that direction. So depending on where you're at with your program with CFC, you need to look at what they're averaging on the specific industries they're calling for you on, and then figure out where you want to go from there. So if your average is 6, then you can basically do the math there. If your closing ratio is 30%, that's awesome. You can just keep it going there and stay steady. Or you may want to amp that up. You may want to double the calling time. You may want to triple the calling time. It just depends on how much you want to get into that funnel, but that's the only way to build up those leads. So that's kind of one of the focuses. Another thing that I do to kind of make myself stand out from other agents is obviously when client focus gives you a lead, sometimes it comes in and it's it's the renewals in March or something. I mean, it's 6 or 7 or 8 months down the road. So after I get that lead into my agency, I send out a thank you card, a business card, along with my agency brochure and a magnet. And I'll bet, and the agency brochure, I'm going to tell you, it costs 10 times more than any of the other stuff that I'm sticking in there. I'm sure that it's tossed away, but the magnet seems to stick. It sticks on filing cabinets, and I know it does because when I go into an automotive repair shop or I go into a restaurant and I'm working on a quote, there's the magnet. It's stuck back there in the office, and I'm like going, well, that's a way to keep my name out there in the public. And so you're trying to establish a relationship through a phone call. It's pretty difficult, so you need to find a way to make yourself different from the other agents, and that's one of the things that I've done over the years. Is it's kind of been rewarding for me as far as setting up a relationship through a phone call. So that's kind of another thing that I use as far as a marketing tool to solidify my results and try to make myself different from the other agents out there. As far as that, Dean, if you have any other questions, that kind of gives you kind of a scenario of what I do and what I did with Client Focus where we met. If you have specific questions or any of the agents have specific questions for me, I'd be more than happy to answer things, especially if it's concerned to, let's say results or, hiring and firing or what I do to work with you guys to try to get the best ROI on my return.
Well, one of the things that we struggle with, Rob, is that agents quit. They kind of quit before the blessing. And it's like it's really hard for us to kind of say, hey, hang in there. You have to give it 6 months or you have to give it a year. And you've been with us for 7 years. What do you think that secret recipe has been to get these agents through that hard, kind of get over the hump there so they can start getting some, ROI back?
Well, I think the first thing an agent has to look at, no matter where they're at in their career, I mean, obviously I've been around for a long time, but even if I went back to an agent that's a brand new agent, one of the first things I would suggest to them is that they have to have a contact manager. They have to have that person that is going to replace them so that they can go out and make sales. And and it's a learning